And in this video, we are going to set up all the variables that we're going to be using in this project. So first, I've done a little bit of project setup for us. All right, so I've essentially, the only thing I've done is just create the HTML page here for us. So I'm going to show you something that I just actually learned today. So in previous videos, you may have seen me open up my Finder and then I right click on the index file and then I open it up in Chrome. Well, check this out. This is awesome. If you take your index file, right click, copy full path, I'm going to switch desktops here and open up a new window. Go ahead and slap that there. There's the project. I had no idea I could do this. Now with Atom, I do know there are some packages available to open up your index files in a browser, but I don't have one. Anyways, so this is the page that we're working with. I've set up all of our HTML. It has our IDs and the classes we're going to be working with, and what we're going to do is just create the variables and the necessary other modules and layouts and components, things like that, to get this thing looking awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is set up our variables. All right, so let's go ahead and open up our Sass file. You can see that I've added some structure to this a little bit already, and we've got our base Sass file. Doesn't have anything in it. I created a layout for us, and this one I have provided some classes in here. I went ahead and created the row and column classes that we're going to be using in this, just save you a little bit of time here. And then we've got our modules here, and we don't have anything yet in our modules. All right, so what we're going to do first is create some global variables that we can use throughout our project. So to do that, go ahead, right click on the Sass parent file, the Sass directory. We're going to do new file, and we're going to create a variable partial. So with a leading underscore, and then go ahead and type in the name of the file there. So now we've got this variables file here. And then remember, we need this to compile into our app, not compile, but import. And we're going to go ahead and put this at the top, because none of these other imports will have access to our variables unless we put it at the very top of this import list. And simply just type in variables, because Sass is smart and it knows it's a partial. We don't need the leading underscores or the file extension here. And we'll go ahead and save that. All right, so before we set up some basic colors in using variables, and I'm going to show you that we can actually take these variables and even go further than that, this variables folder, we can set up a lot more than just colors. All right, so I'm going to come up here and just make a comment, and I'm just going to type in global variables. All right, and then let's create some colors. And the first one that we're going to create is a brand primary, and this is going to be a darker red color. So I'm going to hit space and then tab this out 3, and then we're going to create the other one, which is going to be a brand secondary. And again, I'm going to space this out. And the reason I space these out is because it looks so much cleaner when you're looking at your variables when you have some space and everything is just in one solid straight row here for you. So to create these, I am just going to copy and paste the class. You go ahead and write it down and try to keep up. And this one is going to be brand third. Going to bring it out here. Okay, and what I'm doing is, remember, the website that we're working with kind of has this red and dark theme going on. So then we're going to do a base dark. So this is what our darker color is going to be. It's that one that's close to a black. I've got a space in here. There we go. All right, and then the next one is going to be a base light. Okay, and then don't worry if you don't know what these colors are yet. I'm actually going to be commenting out what kind of colors we're using here. So the base light is just going to be a very light, kind of whitish color, not exactly white, but close to it. And then we're going to do a base lighter. And this one's more close to white. Cool, so we got those in there. And then I'm going to create some space, and then what I'm going to do, now this does look really trashy, but I'm going to do it just so you can reference to these colors, is these are the colors that we're going to be using here. All right, so the first one is a red, a darker red, and then a dark red, and then a lighter red, and then we have an almost black, a light gray, and a lighter gray. All right. And then another thing that we can do when we're setting up our variables is you can actually just set standard base colors. And we're only going to do 2 of those. I'm going to bring this all the way out here. And then I'm going to set up a white. Now you might be asking, well, why the heck are you setting up these colors like you're just setting up a black and a white? Well, the reason that it's a good idea to do this, you can do like your blacks and your whites, and then with these variables you can create a grayscale. And in the previous lessons you learned that we could use a lighten and a darken. Well, we can now use this single black color, and we can choose with other variables and mix-ins that we do to either lighten or darken this color. And you can do the same thing if you want to throw in some reds, blues, orange, and yellows, and so forth into your project. But for here, for some base colors, we're just going to use a black and a white. Cool, so we've set up some colors now, but now I want to show you some things that we can actually do other than colors when working with variables. I'm going to comment here, and we're going to set some base variables for our fonts. So the first variable we're going to create is going to be font family, and then this one's going to be a sans serif font that we're going to be using. And then we can actually, yeah, that's fine. And this one is going to use the Apple system. And then we're going to do the system UI. And these are some default Apple fonts actually. And then we're going to use Blink Mac System font, and then a Sego UI. All right, so that's one font that we can set up. And the next one we're going to do is a font family Roboto. All right, and then we'll bring this out here just a little bit. And this one is going to be Roboto Slab, and then we're going to throw in some serif here. And then the last one, check out this. We are going to create a font base, and we can actually simply set this to our, we're going to use the font family sans serif here. And so what we've just done is, just for some demonstration purposes, we've set up some font families, and then we set up a font base, and all we did is we simply grabbed the variable that is storing this here for us, and we threw it in here. All right. And I'm actually just going to rename this to Apple. Makes a little bit more sense, and we're not using any sans serif. Awesome. So now with this, we can actually set up some additional font bases here. So we can do font base, and this is where we can put a default font size here. So I'm going to put 1 rem, and using these rem units, it's going to take the default browser font size of the user, which is traditionally 16 pixels. So now we're setting a font base, and then we can do a font large, and then let's just make this a little bit bigger, and we'll do 1.25 rem, and then we can set up a font extra large, and then we'll go ahead and set this to 2 rem. All right, and don't forget your colon here. Excellent. So now we've gone ahead and we've set up some colors, we've set up some font families, and we've set up some font sizes. We're going to add 2 more variables working with fonts. We're going to do a font weight here, and we're going to set this to font weight normal, and we're going to set this to normal. Then we can create a base line height for our font on our website. So go ahead and we'll do base font or base line height. And then we're going to make this equal to 1.25 rem. Nice. Now, so we've got our fonts taken care of. We can even do things like setting up some default borders here. So I'm going to make another comment and write out borders. And then this one is going to be called border width. And then over here, we can set this to a 1 pixel. And then over here, we can set up a default border radius. All right. And then we'll set this to 10 pixels. So now we've got some default borders here, and let's continue adding just a few more variables here for us. Now I'm sure that you're getting the idea that we can pretty much create a global default variable for pretty much anything, any element or class on our website. And for the last variables here, create some default button variables. So first, let's set a button color. So I'm going to go ahead and comment this out and just make a header of button. So we're going to call this BTN main color. And we're going to set a main color for this. And we're going to do the main color our base lighter. So we can go ahead and grab that variable and throw it in there. And I think you're beginning to see that as we create these additional variables, we can grab the other base variables that we've already created here. So we've got a color here, and then we're going to create some backgrounds. And we've got 3 buttons on our website, so let's just create 3 different colored backgrounds. So we'll do a BTN background, well, let's just do it like this, primary background. And then this is going to be our brand primary color. So we'll go ahead and paste that in there. And then let's keep the backgrounds grouped together. And the next button we're going to create is going to be a darker one. So let's just do dark or BTN dark dash background. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the base dark here. And then we're going to create a lighter red button. So we're going to do BTN third background. And we're going to make this the BTN third right here, brand third. Cool, so we've got some backgrounds set up here for us. Let's go ahead and create some borders for our buttons. We want to get rid of these standard HTML5 borders with this. So let's do BTN border primary. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the brand primary here. We're going to do the same color. And then we're going to create the other 2 buttons here. And this is going to be the dark variable here. And then the last one is going to be that lighter one. So BTN border third. And then we're going to grab that brand third color. Awesome. So we've got the text color, the background, and the border to this. And buttons also have a padding inside of it. So let's go ahead and create some padding for our buttons. So we're going to do the BTN padding, and we'll just call this X for like the X axis. And we're going to set this to 1 rem. And then we'll do the BTN padding Y. Okay, so this is for top to bottom. And we'll set this to 0.5 rem. And then let's set the line height here. So let's do the BTN line height here. And check this out. We can just simply go and grab the base line height, and we'll throw it as the value here. And then the last one that we're going to create is going to be a BTN transition. All right, this way when we hover over our buttons, there's going to be a transition with it. So BTN transition, and we're going to say all 0.2 seconds, and this is going to be ease in out. Cool. So that is it. That was a lengthy process, but we have set up some global variables that we can now use throughout the rest of our website here. So let's